The storm that night didn't just shake the windows, it shook something deep inside him. Daniel had just come back from a 14-hour shift at the hospital, exhausted, half-soaked, and ready to collapse. His muscles ached, his scrubs clung to his skin, and all he wanted was a hot shower and sleep. Then the knock came. Soft at first, then a little desperate. His heart jumped. Nobody came to his house this late. When he opened the door, lightning flashed behind the figure on the porch, revealing Mara, his best friend's younger sister, 23 years old, holding a tiny duffel bag and wearing the expression of someone who had finally run out of places to be strong. Her hair was dripping, her cheeks red from the cold rain, and her voice was barely above a whisper. "Your lights were on," she said. "Can I stay here tonight? Just tonight?" "I don't want to go back." Her voice cracked at the end, like she was trying too hard not to break. Daniel stepped aside immediately. "You don't have to explain anything," he said. She walked in slowly, almost like she expected him to change his mind. Her clothes clung to her, her hands shook, and she stood near the hallway as if she wasn't sure she belonged anywhere. He gave her a towel and some dry clothes. He made her tea. For a while she said nothing, and he didn't push. He knew some people talked when they were hurting. Others needed silence to find their words. Daniel had known Mara for years. She used to come around when she was a teenager, always laughing, always full of life. Now he saw none of that. She looked older, tired, worn down by something he couldn't see. Around 1 a.m., as he laid out a blanket on the couch, she finally spoke. "Is there space left in your bed?" The question froze him, not because of the words, but because of the fear behind them. The fear of being a burden. The fear of being unwanted. The fear of being alone again. He turned toward her slowly. "There's space," he said gently. "But are you sure?" Quote. She nodded, eyes glistening. "I don't want to sleep alone tonight." Quote. Her voice carried the weight of someone who had held everything in for too long. They went to his room and lay on opposite sides of the bed, quiet, staring at the ceiling. He could hear her breathing, uneven and shaky like she had been holding it in all day. Rain tapped against the window. Thunder rolled in the distance. The room felt small, intimate, fragile. After a long pause, she whispered, "Do you think it's stupid that I ran away?" "No," he said instantly. Her breath trembled. "I couldn't stay there anymore." The yelling, the pressure, everything felt like it was crushing me. I just wanted one night where I could breathe. He realized then that she hadn't come to him because he was convenient. She came because she felt safe with him. That wasn't small. That was something sacred. He shifted slightly, turning toward her. "If you ever feel like you can't breathe," he said softly, "this place, this home, it's always open to you." Her lips parted in surprise. "No one's ever told me that." Those words tightened something in his chest. How could someone go so long without feeling welcome anywhere? At some point, her fingers slipped toward his, maybe by accident, maybe not. But when she didn't pull away, neither did he. The warmth of her hand was small, but powerful. It felt like trust. "That blanket on the couch," she whispered. "You really thought I'd let you sleep out there alone?" Daniel let out a quiet laugh. "I was trying to be respectful." She moved closer, resting her head against his shoulder. "And I'm trying to tell you I feel safe with you." Her words hit him harder than anything had in years. Not romance, not a confession, just truth, raw and human. Being needed, not for what he could give, but for who he was. There was nothing more powerful. Minutes passed in comfortable silence, the kind that only existed when two hearts understood each other. Then she asked the question that changed everything. "Is there space left in your bed tomorrow night too?" Quote. His heartbeat thudded, slow but strong. "Tomorrow night?" he repeated. She hesitated, voice trembling. "And maybe the night after that, and maybe more." He didn't think, he didn't question, he just said what felt right. "What if you said you wanted to stay forever?" Her breath caught, silence stretched between them before she whispered, "I think I do." And in that moment, Daniel realized something he never expected. This storm wasn't just outside. It had blown open the door to something he didn't know he needed. Something that could change both of their lives forever. He just didn't know how yet. Morning light painted the room in soft gold when Daniel woke up. For a moment he forgot everything. The storm. The late-night knock. The trembling voice. Then he felt the gentle weight against his shoulder. Mara was still there. Her breathing was calm, steady. No tension in her face. No fear. She looked younger, peaceful, like sleep had finally given her the rest. Life had refused her. He watched her for a moment, not out of desire, but out of awe. How could someone who had carried so much pain look so soft in the right place? Then her eyes opened. Sleepy, warm, vulnerable. "Morning," she whispered. Daniel smiled. "Morning." For a brief second, everything felt simple. But simplicity never stayed long. Her expression changed, worry flickering across her face. "I should go," she said quickly, sitting up. "I didn't mean to stay this long. I don't want to cause trouble." "Mara," he said gently, "you're not causing trouble." She looked away. "You don't understand. If they find out where I went." He sat up too, his voice steady. "You don't have to go back there." Her lips pressed together. "That's not how it works." He could hear the fear hiding beneath her words, the kind of fear that didn't come from a simple argument, the kind that came from feeling trapped. "Mara," he asked softly, "what happened yesterday?" Her eyes filled instantly, like tears were already waiting. She took a shaky breath. "My brother's been different since he lost his job. Angry, controlling. He yelled at me for hours because I got home late from work. Said I was ungrateful. Said I didn't deserve to live there if I couldn't follow his rules." Daniel felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "That's not okay." She shook her head. "You don't get it. He's all I have left. If I lose that, I have nothing." Daniel wanted to tell her she was wrong, that she had people, that she had him, but he knew those words would feel too heavy too soon. So instead he said, "You have somewhere safe now. That matters." Her eyes met his, filled with hurt and hope fighting inside her. She whispered, "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not," he said. "You never were." The silence that followed wasn't painful. It was thoughtful, heavy with meaning. Then her phone lit up on the nightstand. 10 missed calls. 3 angry texts. Her face drained of color. "It's him," she whispered. Daniel reached out, gently turning the screen face down. "You don't have to answer." Her breath shook. "He'll come looking." Something inside Daniel shifted, a protectiveness he never expected to feel this strongly. "Let him," Daniel said quietly. "You're not alone." Those words hit her like warmth after freezing rain. She leaned into him, her forehead against his shoulder. "I don't know why I feel safe with you," she murmured. "I barely understand it." He closed his eyes for a moment. "I do." She pulled back slightly, confused. "When you walked in last night, you didn't ask me to explain. You didn't judge me. You just made space for me." Her lips trembled. "No one's ever done that." Daniel's voice softened. "Sometimes people don't need answers. They just need a place to breathe." Her eyes glistened again, but this time the emotion was different. Less fear, more connection, the kind that grew quietly but deeply. She brushed his hand with her fingers, the touch small but meaningful. "Daniel," she whispered, "do you really want me here?" He didn't hesitate. "Yes." She swallowed. "Not just because you feel sorry for me?" His voice was firm. "I want you here because I care about you, because you matter." Her breath caught, like those words reached places nothing else ever had. Before either of them could say more, a car door slammed outside. They froze. Footsteps on the porch, a fist pounding on the front door. "Mara, open the door!" Quote. Her brother. Her entire body tensed, fear returning in an instant. Daniel stood up slowly, his jaw tight. "He's not coming in," he said. "What if he forces his way?" she whispered. Daniel looked at her, eyes steady. "Then he'll learn this isn't the same as his house. He doesn't control anything here." Another loud bang shook the door. "Mara!" She grabbed Daniel's hand without thinking, holding it like it was the only solid thing in the world. Her voice was barely a breath. "Please don't let him take me." Daniel squeezed her hand gently, but with a strength that told her everything she needed to know. "I won't." Their eyes locked. And in that moment, something unspoken formed between them. Not just safety, not just comfort, something deeper. Something that could grow into love. Outside, the pounding continued. Inside, two hearts stood together for the first time. The pounding on the door grew louder, each hit shaking the frame. Mara flinched with every sound, her fingers tightening around Daniel's hand. "Mara, I know you're in there." Quote. His voice was harsh, full of anger and control, the kind of voice that had followed her for months. The kind that made her feel small, not here, not anymore. Daniel gently guided her behind him before walking toward the door. He didn't rush. His steps were steady, calm, controlled. He wasn't acting out of anger. He was acting out of protection. When he opened the door, rain and cold air rushed in, along with a furious man in his late 20s, soaked and wild-eyed. Her brother. "What do you think you're doing?" he shouted. "She's coming home with me." Daniel stood firm. "No," he said calmly. "She's not." The man tried to push past him, but Daniel blocked the doorway without effort. He was older, stronger, and grounded in a way the other man wasn't. "You don't get to keep her," her brother snapped. "She lives with me." Daniel's voice stayed steady. "She's an adult. She chooses where she stays." The words hit him like a slap. His expression twisted. "She's my responsibility." Mara stepped forward then, her voice shaking but brave. "No," she said softly, "I'm not." Quote. Her brother turned toward her, shocked. "What did you say?" She swallowed hard, fear trembling in her chest, but her eyes stayed on him. "I'm tired of being yelled at. I'm tired of feeling like nothing I do is good enough. I'm tired of being scared in my own home." Her voice cracked, but she continued. "I don't want to live like that anymore." Her brother stared at her, rain dripping from his hair, anger slowly shifting into something else, confusion, hurt, loss. "You're choosing him over your own family?" he asked. Mara shook her head gently. "I'm choosing myself." Silence stretched between them, heavy and raw. For a moment, her brother looked like a child who had been left behind. Then he took a step back, breathing hard. "If you walk away now," he warned, voice trembling, "don't expect to come back." Daniel opened his mouth, but Mara squeezed his arm gently. She spoke for herself. "I don't want to come back to that version of you." Her brother stared at her one last time, then turned and walked away, the rain swallowing him as he disappeared down the street. The door closed quietly. The house fell silent. Mara stood frozen, her breath shaking, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. Daniel stepped closer. "You did something incredibly brave," he said softly. She shook her head. "I feel like I just lost everything." He cupped her face gently, wiping a tear with his thumb. "No," he whispered. "You just gained freedom." Her chest tightened, and she leaned forward, collapsing against him. He wrapped his arms around her, holding her like she was something precious. Because she was. They stayed like that for a long moment, letting the silence settle. Letting the fear drain out. Letting the warmth replace it. When she finally pulled back, her voice was small. "Why are you being so kind to me?" Daniel met her eyes, steady and sincere. "Because you deserve kindness," he said. "You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to be loved." Her breath caught. "No one has ever said that to me." He smiled softly. "Then I'll say it again." She looked up at him, emotions swirling in her eyes. "Do you really want me here?" she whispered. Daniel didn't hesitate. "Yes, not just for tonight, not just because you need a place. I want you here because I care about you." Her voice trembled. "I'm scared." He nodded. "So am I." She blinked, surprised. "You are?" He laughed softly. "You walked into my life and changed everything in one night. That's scary." She smiled through her tears. "But it feels right," she whispered. He brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. It does. Slowly, carefully, she leaned forward, giving him time to pull away if he wanted. He didn't. Their lips met in a soft, gentle kiss, not rushed, not desperate, just full of quiet emotion and new understanding. It wasn't passion that lit the moment, it was belonging. When they pulled apart, she rested her forehead against his. "Is there space left in your bed forever?" she whispered. Daniel smiled, his heart full. "There's space in my bed, my home, and my life," he said, "for as long as you want it." Her eyes softened. "Then I want to stay." They lay down together, the storm finally fading outside. For the first time in years, Mara fell asleep without fear. And Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because they had found each other. Sometimes one night of kindness becomes the beginning of a lifetime. Sometimes the door you open for someone else becomes the doorway to your own happiness. And sometimes love doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives in the quiet knock during a storm, in a trembling voice asking, "Is there space left in your bed?" And the answer that changes everything. "What if you said you wanted to stay forever?" They both did, and that made all the difference.